All right, so the whole reason why we're even bringing up this whole conversation is because Verdansk was pushed back, what, 2 weeks?
Two, almost 3 weeks.
So
If you
two, 3 weeks. So yeah, so let's have this conversation. Like, where should we start at 84? Let me know.
I think we should discuss like how they plan on starting the the second Verdansk era, if you will.
Hmm.
Like, how are we gonna start season 3? How are we gonna introduce the return to Verdansk that everyone's been waiting for?
Right. So here's my thing about Call of Duty, and it's been like this for ages. So like they introduced this certain timeline, right? And the way they designed the actual game, it sticks to this timeline. But then after a while, they start to implement things that aren't a part of this timeline, whether it be Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, unicorns, Jason. Like after a while, it gets all over the place, and then at the end, it just doesn't make sense. So my thought behind it, because so they brought back the two weapons, right? And then they got certain POIs, right? And this is how that they're gonna do it because it's based off of this timeline. How's about we just scrap the timeline altogether from the very beginning, right? And then just take, because there's a lot of this map that we've played, like through what it was the Verdansk, then it was Verdansk 84. Then there's just like a ton of changes that this map has made, right? So let's just scrap the whole timeline and just grab pieces of the POI that was at its highest. You know what I mean? Why close off train station? The train station update was probably like one of the best updates.
Right.
Why like close off the stadium? That the stadium being open made it one of the best POIs. They have an opportunity here that I think they're missing, where like they can make that they could take the best out of this map, because like this map isn't like really the best when it started out, but it started to get better throughout the seasons. So make an ultimate Verdansk where like you could take the best out of every phase of this map and then make one of the best games.
And I agree with that. And I think one specific POI that I think is going to play a big role, like you mentioned, is stadium. Having the stadium closed while simultaneously having internal access to the stadium, I think it's going to create the COD logistical problem of end games, where there is a physical separation of verticality where neither player or team can access the other. Because having a closed stadium while someone can be in stadium, that's a BR nightmare, right? For either team.
It is. It definitely is a BR nightmare.
So, and I agree with you. I think having an open stadium, for example, an open train station, that's just that creates a better experience overall, for not just for the player but the map itself, because it's almost like getting two POIs in one. It's like I can explore the exterior of train station. I can also enter the train station.
Exactly. And then it's like every POI has had its moment, but not at the same time.
Correct.
You know what I mean? So for like, I'm just saying, like, they're just missing a big opportunity to like basically make the ultimate map where it's like, okay, this part was great in Verdansk 84. This one was good in season 1 or season 2 of like the regular Verdansk 2019. And it's like, it kind of helps the map, because let's just be honest, like we've played Verdansk to the point where we were begging for a new map.
Yes.
Because it was stale. Having all these POIs where like people like to drop being at its best, I think would cut down on the map getting stale so fast.
I agree, because from a battle royale standpoint, the bigger the map, only works if you have areas to explore. So
Exactly.
having a lot of buildings that I can't get into defeats the purpose of why would I want to go explore this area? I can't enter that stadium. I can't enter this train station. I can't enter that big building in downtown. So now they're just blocks of structures that I can't interact with, let's say.
So let's talk about the weapons
Yes.
that they're bringing back.
So I see the weapons from 2 points of view. They're bringing back, or at least the rumors are that they're bringing back some of the classic Verdansk weapons, if we want to call them anything. You know, the kilos, the growls, things like that. And I want to say the community loved all those weapons, and I would agree I loved all those weapons. I do have a concern. I've also seen members of the community share this opinion, which is Treyarch design makes the weapons feel different than, let's say, Infinity Ward or Sledgehammer. So my concern is, are the weapons we love going to feel the same in a Treyarch engine? So this, to me, this is, I'm just kind of, you know, throwing a flare in the air saying, hey, I love these weapons, but we have to be careful how we bring them back in a Treyarch world.
I totally agree with you right there. I totally agree with you. And then this was kind of bringing to my point. Like, I feel like Treyarch had good weapons as well.
Yes.
That, like, I feel like the best balance and the best weapons weren't in 2019. I feel like Verdansk 84. Look how many SM like G's we had. Look how many ARs that we had that were very viable. Like the Farah, the Mac 10. Like they were like Cold War weapons were some of the best weapons that I thought in that era. So why not Treyarch focus on those? And because like you said, if you go to 2019, are those weapons gonna feel the exact same on a Treyarch engine? Probably not. But is like the FFAR is gonna feel the same? Exactly, it will, because it's on a Treyarch engine. So I feel I'm very concerned about how these weapons are gonna interact with the new Treyarch way, when like they kind of hopefully they'll bring back some weapons in season 4, maybe season 3 Reloaded that were Treyarch's, but I feel like once again they're missing a prime opportunity to introduce back their like weapons that was at the height of their, I guess, glory. You know what I mean?
I'll add something else to that idea, which is we've already seen some classic weapons in BO6. For example, we saw the Krig C come in, but it wasn't the classic Krig C that we remember from Cold War. We saw the PPSH come in, and it didn't feel like the classic PPSH. So that's another thing that worries me is, are we gonna bring these classic weapons, but they're just not gonna hit the same too? It's not even just the feel. Are they even gonna be viable? Right? Or are we just gonna have a set of weapons that everyone's gonna say, okay, leveled it up, doesn't really hit, sit in the back burner, and I'll just keep using the current meta?
Yeah. Like that's one thing that I don't want to happen. I want us to move forward with the metas, have more. You know what? I'm kind of tired of the whole metas anyway.
Yeah.
So if like they can bring out 7 to 10 guns that are very viable that can beat each other, I would be very, very happy. Because I mean, with 2019, I guess with 2019 there was metas, but not in the earlier stages because players really didn't know what they were. But like now that we have more knowledge, I guess we can exploit certain weapons more now, or like faster now too. We've agreed on quite a bit of stuff here, but like here's something that we kind of disagree on, and that being said, the field upgrades. So go ahead and speak on that.
I'm a believer when I compare classic Verdansk to Warzone 5 years later. I feel, and this is my opinion, I think the game played better when we had a little less field upgrades. specific ones. If we're gonna talk about Verdansk,
yeah. Let's talk about that.
And again, but this is dependent on. I enjoyed Verdansk. I enjoyed being able to traverse the map. But I also enjoyed being able to use vehicles. Now, granted, vehicles aren't so good anymore. So,
right. But they're bringing back the OG ones.
Right.
They
say they're bringing back the OG ones, but I like a test drive, I need to see how that handling goes. I need to see that 0 to 60.
Right.
But that also made me like a version of Verdansk without the zip lines. The portable ones, not the vertical ones to get you up and down buildings. I feel like those are necessary. But the redeploys specifically, I feel like that ruined a little bit of the game for me. Because there's nothing like you planning to engage a fight, or you're already engaged in a fight, and next thing you know, the Avengers are flying in at you from 3 different directions.
Okay.
Like, that to me ruins the gameplay loop.
I totally see where you're coming from with this, but I totally disagree, because I think the field upgrades are going to correct some of the imperfections of the map itself and the way it was designed, right? Because in Verdansk, there's a lot of places where like you're punished for moving, right? So Verdansk was designed like that, and then they changed the map where like you can move around. But like there's a lot of POIs, a lot of places where you're punished for moving, and the field upgrades and then the portable zips are going to correct some of that.
Okay.
Because a lot of people sitting in buildings, like there was some areas where once you got up there, there was only one like way in, one like way out. And then if like you were there for first, you could just stare at that spot and you didn't have to worry about anything else. Right. I think the field upgrade, especially the portable zips, make it so like you have more options and you don't get as punished anymore for moving around the like map as you did in 2019. So I think it's going to correct some of them imperfections throughout the map, where like this was our first map, we didn't really know how this was going to play out. And I think that's another reason why Verdansk got a little bit stale and like we were tired of it. Because if we like remember, like how like there was like the first map where they brought the portable zips, or even zips period, it didn't get as stale as fast because you can move more. So that's pretty much the main reason why I disagree that this one needs the portable zips and the like portable zips, the building zips, and then also the standard ones that just sit around the actual map itself.
How about this? Because I agree with you. There were a lot of places in Verdansk that if you tried to rotate, or you were caught in the open, or like you said, if you didn't grab this high ground, it's over. There's just nothing you can do. So how about we find a happy medium? We have some pre-deployed zips in certain areas, like let's say farm for as an example, or like behind prison, because there was that big open area behind prison where it was just open field, right? And you can't shoot those down, because I know that was another addition recently to Urzikstan. Some zips you just cannot shoot down, because you would create that power play of I have high ground, there's no way for you to get up here. But we just limit them based on those really open areas. We limit like, okay, a zip belongs here, a zip belongs there, but we just can't go to the buy station and buy a zip anytime we feel like it.
I could see that. How I would want, okay, so I would say let's do that at first and see how that plays out. And then if it's not to our liking, then put in the portable zips, because some like times we all know like some like times that timing is like not right with those portable zips, with not with the portable ones, but with the standard ones, where like, you know, 3 of us zip up and then like that fourth on person falls like back like down because the zip then flew off. So
no,
we didn't been caught like that several times. So yeah, I kind of like that thought about that. Yeah, that'll definitely be a good start to the game.
Okay.
So, yes, let's talk about them implementing like 150 players, and then like they've done that in Kyrgyzstan. Um, how do you feel that's going so far with that? Like, do you think the 150 is going to be good for this season 3, or do you think they should go to 120 and then work their way up to 100?
I'm gonna say just from Urzikstan alone, I'm not even gonna talk about early Verdansk. Currently with 150 players, I'm noticing a positive change, and maybe people aren't being aware of this, but when we had 100 players, I feel like camping was a little more dominant, especially when circles were closing or camping buy stations, because the map felt so empty. It was hard to tell where somebody would be. Let's say a team would be camping somewhere, a roof, a window. It was harder to tell because there were so fewer players. But now I feel like with more players on the map, everyone is under constant pressure, and I feel like it's reduced that camping feel a little bit, because a team that's just sitting around, another team is going to be coming by and they're going to see them, and now they can't sit there for 5 minutes waiting for a straggler to come by. Someone's always watching over their shoulder now, and I think it's playing better.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. Like, 150 players is making it feel more like, I know every BR has its own type of thing, right? Where like Apex has this, Fortnite has this, Call of Duty has this, and I feel like this is more of a Call of Duty BR and not trying to implement another BR from some other game. So I couldn't agree with you more there. The other thing that we got to talk about, and I think we should leave a lot of this, we should leave one of these topics to a whole nother video, because there's a whole nother video within itself, is the anti-cheat. But long story short, and then we'll go into more details later on, if the anti-cheat doesn't work, none of what we're talking about is valid, because it all is gonna come down to, can they stop cheaters?
And I agree with that. And while realistically we don't expect any anti-cheat to be 100%, the game's just going to be totally clean.
Exactly.
What we need as a community and for the survival of the game is we definitely just need something more effective than what we currently have. We're not expecting perfect, but when you watch a player continuously cheat day after day, week after week, something has to give there.
Brand new account, right. You're like, rank level 34 with dark matter, like, and it's just so like blaring, like the cheating is just, and it's just like none of this is gonna matter. Like, they can design the best game we've had in years, and if like the ricochet doesn't come through, all this is just all in void.
100%, I agree.